Yes. Hello everyone and welcome to the Talk Influencers. This is where we explore the mindset of amazing achievers. We share their secret to success and how the decisions they've made over the years have shaped, transformed who they are today. We're also committed to provide you with the tools and the knowledge that you need to unlock your potentials and to influence the world. Wherever you're watching me around the world, my name is Simon Odewale, and today we are of course delighted and we are so excited to have today Stephredd. Now, for those who don't know who Stephredd is, of course, she's also, of course, she's a genius activator, identity and communication coach. Is going to be our guest today, and we are so excited to have her today on the show. Thank you so much, Dara, for joining us. We're so excited. Thank you so much for for tuning in today. This is the Talk Influencer. Is this your first time? This is where we explore the mindset of amazing achievers. We share their secret to success and how the decisions they've made are shaped, transformed who they are today. We're also committed to provide you with the tools and the knowledge that you need to unlock your potentials and to influence the world. I'm Simon Odewale, and I'm so excited, of course, to be your host today on the Talk Influencer. I'm so excited to have our guest today on the show because I believe it's going to be a moment of change. It's going to be a moment of transformation for you and I right here on the show. Okay, now don't go anywhere. Our guest is going to join us any moment from now, and we cannot wait to start this amazing moment with our guest today. So our guest is here already. So let's just send a request and let our guest to join already. Thank you so much, everyone, for the Talk Influencers. We're going to invite our guest in so we could just start right away. Awesome. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Can you see me? Awesome.
Okay. Hi. How are you? Happy Sunday.
I'm fine. Thank you so much. Thank you.
How are you doing?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Before we start, I'd first of all say Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. It's a privilege.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Stephredd. I would like us to start immediately. I don't know if that's fine.
Oh, that's absolutely fine.
Awesome.
That's fine. Let's not do African time. It's a very bad thing.
Thank you so much, Stephredd. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is the Talk Influencers. Of course, this is where we explore the mindset of amazing achievers. We share their secret to success and how the decisions they've made are shaped, transformed who they are today. We're also committed to provide you with the tools and the knowledge that you need to unlock your potentials and to influence the world. Wherever you're watching me around the world, my name is Simon Odewale, and today we're so excited to have Stephredd on the show. Now, for those who don't know who Stephredd is, of course, he's a genius activator, identity and communication coach. There's so much to learn from her today. If you're not following her on Instagram, on LinkedIn, you are missing a lot. So good follow her as well to get an update, of course, on our page on Instagram, so that you can get more and more from her on a daily basis. Thank you so much, Stephredd, for joining us today. How have you been today?
Thank you. I have been spread a bit thin, but I'll manage. I've been a mother all day because I've had to go here, there, and everywhere with the children. So it's been tiring. I'm just looking forward to my 1 hour. Someone said I should give myself 1 hour of not giving a hoot. Right. So after this session, I'm just gonna give myself 1 hour, just lock them out there. Whatever you want to do. But I'm done with you people for the rest of today. Yeah. But it's been okay. I'm grateful for
Thank you so much, Stephredd. So, Stephredd, as we start now, I'd like to ask you this question that, of course, you're an identity coach, and I'd like to ask you this. At what point, at what level did you understand your identity, or did you discover your potential?
Did I discover my identity and my potential? Honestly, I would say about 5 years ago. 5 years ago was when, for me, I came to the full awareness of who I was, and I came to the full understanding of what I carried. Otherwise, before then, I think, or I believe, that I had just been marking a register and running the hamster wheel. But then I discovered myself authentically 5 years ago.
All right, thank you so much. And I'd like to ask you, still on the time that you discovered yourself, how was it like for you? Uncovering yourself, discovering who you really are. How was it like for you?
It was refreshing. It was, at some point it was gruesome. At some point it was, short of saying overwhelming, because I just recognized that I had expended myself for 37 years of my life and wasn't operating from the center of my genius, which is what I like to say. I was pretty much ticking every other person's register based on what they wanted, based on how they saw me, never on how they saw me or how I thought they needed to see me, but never about how I saw myself. So just coming to that awareness to know that I can be this, I am this, I already am this, but I am not living in the fullness of that, excuse me. I'm not living in the fullness of that because I hadn't come to the center to recognize who I was. So that realization was fulfilling. Would I say it's progressive. I don't believe in becoming. I believe rather in progressively becoming, because you become today, tomorrow you learn something new. We progress by learning. And for every time we learn something new, we learn how not to do something again. So it's a constant process of evolvement, a constant process of re-engineering self. Yes, so it's been beautiful as well, and I'm totally grateful that I walked that path.
Thank you so much. Stephredd, we were checking one of your Instagram page and you said something about winning the battles from the mind. And that before you can be anything in life, you have to first of all win the battle from the mind. Can you just speak a little bit on that and why you said that statement? Why is it so important for us to win the battle from the mind?
Win battles from the mind. Because everything starts from a place of thought. And that thought is birthed in the mind. For every time, the mind is formed by the ear and the eye gates. It is formed from what it sees. Pictures are created. It is formed from what it hears. Shapes, pictures as well are created. And as we progress through life, we have to be able to catch our thoughts every time and evaluate them and make intentional decisions regarding them. A decision to win, a decision to stand regardless, a decision to engage, a decision to ensure that we give the fullness of ourselves every time we show up. Because when we do not make that resolve in the mind, thoughts become feelings. Feelings birth actions. Actions will produce a result. So many times when we see results or outcomes that we do not like and we are breaking our head over the outcome, we should rather go back to the source, which is the thought. If you can take charge of the thought, you can take charge of the result. So when you get a result that is not the kind you want, break it down to the detail and break it down to that detail of thought, which is the first seed. So I said that because many times we want to do something or we are thinking of engaging with something, but then we're afraid, or we give up on the cause of it, or we don't just progress with it. It is often because we haven't won in our minds. When you have seen the finishing line in your mind, it's easier to keep chasing until you see the finishing line with your physical eyes. And when you have successfully seen it in your mind, if life throws you the kind of curveball where it brings you down to your knees, either by failure or disappointment or loss or whatever it is, when you lift up your head and look around you, if what is around you does not look like what you saw in your mind, and you believed strongly what you saw in your mind, that picture that was so vivid in your mind can help you to stand up again and say, this is not what I saw. And I believe strongly in what I saw, that thoughts can become things. You can stand up again and keep on running. But if there is nothing there, and then you stumble through life and look around you, it's a hopeless situation. There's nothing to draw from. There's nothing to anchor onto, and it's very easy to sink deeper from there. So that's why that particular goal was pretty much just to encourage, when you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like standing, it's all in the mind. When you don't feel like taking that walk, it's all in the mind. When you don't feel like, oh, this food is too sweet, I can't do without it, it's all in the mind. I once said that everything sweet, bitter, hatred, love, like, I hate this, I hate that, they are all programmings of the mind. If a baby, when the baby was born, you give a baby bitter leaf as its first breast milk, the baby will drink it so well because that's the first thing it tasted. So the taste of bitter and sweet is relative. It's a programming that was dished by something by your five senses, that was perceived from something you tasted, that was told to you from something you heard. Oh, it is bitter, or you have a bitter experience. So you connect that experience to a bitter feeling. You connect that thing to a sad feeling. Oh, I hate this and I hate that. Check the root cause of that hate. Every child was born blank slate. Every child was born with no hate, no like. The first thing they cried for was food. But over the time, they begin to shape by sight, shape by sound, shaped by experiences. Oh, tap, don't do that. Oh, that, don't do that. So they begin to, their form, their longer connected. Am I still connected? Okay.
Yes.
So in the same way, we have to be able to discipline ourselves to know when to say yes to the thoughts in our mind and when to say no, I am going to refrain from drinking this, I am going to refrain from eating that, I am going to refrain from sleeping at this time, I am going to ensure that I engage in this 10-kilometer walk, I am going to ensure that I do this. If you can charge your mind to do it and let your mind find the reason, you would go through with it. So whatever you have not won in physical, try winning it in your mind. If you win it in your mind, you can win it in your life. Yeah, that's a long explanation. Please excuse me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Stephredd. Stephredd, you were mentioning something, and you mentioned, how the key role that communication plays in fulfilling our destiny and hope. What advice are you going to give to any young person watching us right now on the Talk Influencers on why communication is so important in fulfilling their destiny and fulfilling their goals?
Communication. So when I chose to, it was a decision I made to align myself in two critical areas, which I call the critical areas of life: identity and communication. Because in the wheel of life, when we're talking about health and well-being, love, marriage, relationship, career, business, recreation, money and finance, family, all of it, peace, serenity, all of it, we project from a center. We project towards marriage and relationship from a center of how we see ourselves, our identity. We project towards how we relate with people from how we see ourselves, consciously or unconsciously. We project towards how we see and deal with money from how we see and regard ourselves. We project towards how we rest and commit ourselves for recreation, personal space, find peace and serenity based on how we see our center, which is the core of our identity. And that projection is projecting from your center. That projection is what I call communication. So communication, some people would think it is about speaking with an accent or speaking fluently. Communication is how you show up. And the ability to show up correctly to choose a life partner, the ability to show up correctly, to say yes or no to a job, the ability to show up correctly, to give the fullness of yourself with an understanding of your identity and the genius that you carry would help you, would define whether you're going to have a peaceable life or whether you're going to have a frustrated life. So communication from the aspect of fully understanding your center and then making choices, the choice of health and well-being, the choice of finance and money, the choice of marriage, the choice of how you relate with family and extended family, the choice of how you build a career and how you connect in business, the choice of how you build your social network. All of those are you projecting yourself in different aspects of your life. The question is, are you projecting yourself correctly or are you projecting yourself wrongly? Are you giving off a perception that you want, that you have of yourself? And is that what is being, is that what people are also drawing from to define you in a way that there's an alignment between how you see yourself and how people see you and how you want them to see you? Are you projecting from a center of authenticity, from a center of your genius, and giving from that self to every other aspect of your life? Because when we do not project from a center, if career fails, if job fails, if the marriage fails, if your social networks pack up, if your money goes funny, if all of those fail and your center is not held together, things will fall apart. If you do not understand the genius that you carry, if you don't understand the strength of the identity that you have, when you lose every other thing, you will lose your center because you have defined yourself by those other things. So the question always that I ask people is, how do you define yourself outside? How do you define your identity outside of your status, of the money, of the influence you have, of the job that you do, of the cars or whatever it is that you have? How do you define yourself outside of those things such that if for any reason you were going to lose any of them, you would not lose yourself? You will feel the sudden pull away from it. You would feel the impact, but it's not enough to take the carpet from underneath your feet. Yeah, so that is how and why I consider communication a strong and very important thing connected to your identity. So first of all, you know yourself, you've defined yourself correctly. Then you can show up to communicate that self correctly with whatever it is that you want to get, whatever it is that you want to impact your world. Yes.
Thank you so much. I love the way you explained that. Thank you so much, Stephredd. We're so glad to hear that. So I would write you this what decision do you made early in life that had made a tremendous impact to who you are today? One decision, if there are two, is fine. That you made early in life that have made a tremendous impact to who you are today, growing up.
It would have to be, there are many, but I think from the very first time I made a decision regarding who I wanted or what I wanted to commit myself to was the first decision of marriage. So there are two major decisions. The first decision of marriage is second decision of a job. So when I just finished youth service at the time, there was someone that was pretty much taking a liking to me, that liked me a lot. And based on the fact that, let me just use the word, he was besotted by me. And at the point, I was particular about, I just wanted to get married right. I wanted to get into a relationship, and that would be it, marriage next. I wanted to be confident. Maybe if I'd known then, I wanted to be confident to be able to sing this song. I'm a beauty, I'm a speck, I drip glory, I am nobody's ex. Unfortunately, I'm a people's ex, so let me not even be lying up and down, right? So I wanted to be able to sing that song. But then I remember very well someone that really liked me. So physically and all of that, it wasn't quite my spec, But then I believed strongly that, oh, he made me laugh. Just the fact that he made me laugh, it was funny, it was witty and all of that. But then we didn't have the same beliefs. Should I say beliefs, spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs. And if there's anything at all that I thank God for that I made early, was values, the values that I stand for. Michelle Sandling, I believe, is the one that said, it's not hard to make a decision once you know what your values are, because your values will guide your decision. So here am I with someone that really likes me and wants to get married to me, is a UK citizen, and said, hey, if it's about religion, I don't promise you, I can't promise you that I will become a Christian, but I can promise you that I will not be practicing my religion like that if it will make you happy. And then the children can follow you to wherever you want to worship, but let us get married. If you're afraid of family, let us elope. In that time, when eloping was something like that, I eloped to the UK. I never heard anything about the UK. But just the thought of, hey, I'll be the first person in my father's house to go to. I'll be a UK citizen. But then, to think about it, I just told myself, I had dreams. I had all of those things that I had in my head that I wanted to achieve. I was like, if I'm going to elope with this guy, I'll be hiding for the rest of my life. And the things that I said I want to do, I wouldn't be able to do it. Aside the fact that I would have shamed my family and my mother, who has sweated her entire life to ensure that she raised us as a single mother after losing her husband at age 39. I am now the one that is going to make her regret because I run away. What do I want to teach when I eventually become a mother? What do I want to say? Because at the time I was already speaking to people. What message do I want to pass? How do I want to be remembered? Or would I now become a forgotten story because of one love? And at that point, I said, I like you a lot, but I'm sorry, I have to say no, because it doesn't align with my values. And same thing with my values as getting a job, where at the time, even same period as well, then the banks just increased and they just started paying 121. We're still receiving NYC allowance at 6,005, right? And then I finished with a 2-1. I got a state award. I know, like, go for a bank. Banks would take you. I knew. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do at the time, but I knew what I didn't want to do. So even when the banks were there and there was the offer to come earn 120,000, I am thankful today in retrospect that I said no. It is not what I want, and I will not be moved because of the money, because it derails the path that I see for myself. So I believe those two particular things, because they were, I mean, when you just finish youth service, that is where you are making significant decisions about your life. And I'm quite grateful that I was able to set my values before then. And based on my values at that early point in my life, I was able to decide on what path to take, what path not to take, and how to stick with it, even if it was not popular. Because it wasn't popular for a bloody core member earning 6,500 naira. And in my place of primary assignment, they were paying me 7K, that's 13.5. And then someone wants to give you 120K, you say, no, are you mad? Right? That was how people were looking at me. Are you mad? You must be mad, right? But it wasn't that, and I'm grateful that in spite of the pressure, I stood the cause, and I can look back and say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephredd. I'd like to ask you this again, that growing up, what advice have you received from someone that had made a tremendous impact to who you are today? Growing up, what advice have you received from someone that had made a tremendous impact to who you are today?
Pastor Bright Onoka, I will never forget when I was in university, in my 200 level. By 200 level, yes, there was a particular, we have campus fellowships.
Yeah.
And I always had inclination towards the theater arts. I wanted to study theater arts, but my mother said no, that it wasn't the kind of profession they used to do, And so I got in for French with the intention that I would change into law, but then I was no longer interested in law and I just stuck with French. But since it came naturally. So in my fellowship, I was in the dance department, I was in the drama team, I was in the choir, right? And then everybody knew me. And just in the first semester, my two sisters, even my sisters were like, we've been in this school for 3 years before you came. Nobody knew us. You have come and brought us out, right? So everybody was like, your sister, this one sister. Everybody, my sisters became popular because I came to the university. And people that didn't know them in the campus fellowship began to know them because of me, because I was pretty much there on stage. I'm singing on stage and then go out, drama, and then I'm there on stage. I'm taking a lead character and then dance. I'm in charge of the dance team and all of that. And there was once Pastor Bright told me, he said, Sister Steph, well done for all the things you're doing. There's a grace of God upon your life, and that grace is what is bringing a glory. Never forget that it is the grace, and don't take it for granted, because the people come with the grace. Rather, the grace makes the people come and put the glory on you. But the moment the grace leaves, they will leave with it. So never let it get into your head. I think those are one of the most powerful things. I was in my 200 level. I must have been 18 at the time. Yes, 18-ish, 18, 19. And those were one of the strongest words that I ever heard for someone, for a forming teenager, that regardless of what it is that I carry, I would never allow it get to my head, because it's a grace. And just like the same people that said, oh, King of the Jews, oh, Jesus, they were the same people that said, crucify him. And just understanding that whether they come or go, I have a center that is solid. I remember that it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the grace of God upon my life, and I will not take it for granted. Yes, so I think those were, through my life, through my career, through the ups and downs that I have experienced, it's pretty much been me going back to that word in 1998 when Pastor Brighton Noka told me, it's all about the grace. Do everything you do everything to ensure that you preserve that grace, because the moment the grace goes, the glory would go. Wow. Yes, sir. Yeah, that was pretty much it for me.
Thank you so much, Stephredd. Steph, can you share with us 3 life principles that you live by that has helped you thus far? 3 life principles that you live by that has helped you thus far.
You know, when they ask these kind of questions in interviews, I'm like, I'm wondering, like I have an encyclopedia right now. 3 life principles. Can you break it down a bit? Principles to what regard? How specifically?
Okay, it's like what you live by, and that becoming who you want to be, becoming who you are today. What are those things that you live by that serve like a guide, or like a roadmap for you as a person growing up?
I'm getting you to talk more so that I can think well. That's the trick, right? So I act like I don't know what you're talking about so that you can expatiate more. And while you're expatiating, I'm thinking, what should I tell you? All right, but if there's any strong principle at all that I have held on to so strongly, is never give up until you win. And I say that because life does come with challenges, and it's in different levels and different dimensions. And what I tell myself is, there is a win that is somewhere. There's a win on the other side. So whether there seems to be a wall or a challenge, whatever challenge it is, there has to be a win on the other side. That's why there is this challenge. So for me, I don't see a challenge. I just see an obstruction. And I tell myself that no matter what comes or goes, no matter what gives in or doesn't, I will not give up until I win. I'm going to have to break through the mountain, climb over the mountain, run around the mountain, or look for bazookas to blow them up. Hey, Taiwan! Hi, sis. Or look for bazookas to blow them up. I will do everything within my power, God giving me grace, to not stay where I am because of a challenge. I do not believe that there's no challenge that is insurmountable. And in the worst case scenario, I say that even if I do not win, I will finish strong. I would make sure that my best knows that it is his best that it has given. that my best knows. So there's no room to say, oh, I tried, oh, I tried, so I know. There are no excuses. And someone would say, probably I'm a slave driver. I was thinking, interestingly, I think one of the best things that happened to me was serving with the military. Someone said I am, one of my children's nanny said that I behave like I'm in the army. And when she said it, I started laughing, because my first career training actually was in the military. I was posted to a military barracks. I was teaching officers and soldiers of the Nigerian army to speak French. I was in a military institution, a higher institution. And beyond just being their instructor, I had to be disciplined to show up. And just learning from them. And my godfather is a retired military. He was a general of the command school of the institution, Nigerian Army School of Education. Just watching how he dealt with his soldiers, just watching how they treat their battalion, just watching their order and their structure gave me a lot of mental structure and physical commitment. So when I set my mind to something, I set my mind to that thing. And I'm not the kind of person that someone says it will not work. Oh, it will not work. Let's find out. Let's find out if really it does not work, we would learn something, but not based on an assumption. So when I set my eyes like a flint, I am looking at it. And it's one of my personal principles. Someone would think that, oh, I drive too hard, or that but it has worked for me, because I realized that life, and I was talking about the mind, pretty much. It's all about disciplining yourself and committing to a process, because life there's nothing like a soft life. For you to enjoy the soft life, you have to do the hard life. So, there's this latest thing on social media is, while living this soft life, oh, soft life, baby girl. There's nothing like soft life, baby girl. Even for you to have it, you have to work it. And when you have worked it and you have it, you better keep working it. Otherwise, you will finish it and you will go back to square one. So that's how I commit myself to the process. And that's how I am training my children as well, that life is a bed of roses. As a matter of fact, there are thorns and there are roses, right, that have the fragrance. You have to commit yourself to a process. You have to have a mental vision. You have to have mental resilience towards something you want to achieve, towards something you want to be, and tell yourself that no matter what comes or goes, no matter how the wind blows, no matter how the billows roll, I will not give up until I win at that thing that I have started and committed myself to. And even if I do not win, I would ensure that I finish strong, that I would have known that I did everything I could, and it is the last that I could offer. And wherever I stop, I'm willing to now teach someone else in the process, to hand over the baton, to say, continue from where I stopped, because there is a win on the other side. Just like, was it David and Solomon, that I may not be able to build the temple, but you build it, right?
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephredd. I'm so excited to have you today on the show. All right, can you share with us, what advice are you going to give to the 15-year-old or 16-year-old Stephredd? What advice are you going to give to her?
Truthfully, I think it would be the reverse. I am presently trying to have the kind of confidence that I had as a teenager. So there are many things that, of course, I have evolved with age and with time. And what has pretty much changed is the fact that I've learned to be more diplomatic in the way I communicate. But the 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old Stephanie was ruthless. I don't care what it's going to be, but I will bring this wall down. I can do anything. It is now in older years that I engage sometimes with fear and anxiety, and then I have to remind myself. And I remind myself in my current age of things that I did when I was 18, where I had no fear, where I had no doubt that if I put my hand to the plow, it will come out. If you say no, oh really? I mean, I remember I organized a dance concert on campus. And it was something that I just told myself, I want to organize a dance concert. And I wrote a letter to all the campus fellowships and told them they should give me their dancers. We want to have an interdenominational dance concert, interdenominational dance concert. And I wrote to churches, other churches within the town, to their bishops, and I went to meet them. I go there, you know, the normal thing of, you cannot see our bishop. Does he have an appointment? No, I don't have an appointment, but I'm sure he would want to see me. When I think about it now, I'm like, ah man, you chop liver. Because I can't picture how confident I was at the time that and I eventually raised funds, and I said, no, if I want to, you know, they'll have an adage that if you want chop frog, chop the one way get egg, not just chop ordinary frog now. At least they get extra inside, right? So I am going for the best videographer. At the time, Righteous Man Studio was one of the best videographers in Benin City. I went to get Righteous Man video from Benin, and I brought him to Ekmoma. I went to get the best designers, and I brought them to Ekmoma, and I told them, take this one first, I will balance you. Right? So in my adult years, I'm afraid to engage, because sometimes I feel, what if I fail? In those years, I wasn't saying, what if I fail? I was like, I will not fail. It will work. So when I'm in my current year, I'm telling myself, if you could do it then, in 2002, if you could do it again during your youth service in 2004, you can do it now. You have more knowledge, you have more skill, and you have a wider network. There's nothing to be afraid of. So honestly, what I would rather, it's my 15-year-old, it's my 15, 16, 18-year-old Stephanie that would tell my current 42-year-old Stephanie to say, hey, you've got it in you. We did it before. We can do it again. Right? So when I feel that fear or anxiety, I tell myself, hey, you've done it before. When you didn't even have much, when you were lesser, when you were younger, you could do it then. How much more now? You can do it again. And then even though the failures come and the disappointments come, say it's okay. It's part of life. You will learn. There's something to learn. Learn and move on. But then do it again. Right? So it's going to be the teenage Stephanie charging the 42-year-old Stephanie now to keep moving on. So my case is a bit reversed. I know I've watched several interviews and be like, I would tell my 15-year-old self, don't worry, baby, you're going to be all right. It's not like that for me. It's my 15-year-old self that's telling me, you're all right, baby. We're still in here. I know you're older, but we still just got us. We're inside you, and we're, yeah, go, 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 girl. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephredd. Now, you know, you said something about being confident is one of the keys that one must have. And also, apart from being confident, what other quality or skill are you going to advise any young person watching us right now on the Talk Influencers must have or should have in becoming the very best that they can be, apart from being confident? What other skill or quality one must have in becoming the very best they can be, even as they grow up now, watching us right now on the Talk Influencers?
Self-belief. Self-belief. And it was actually from there that I began to call myself the genius activator, because I recognize that there's quite a number of people who don't recognize that they're geniuses, who don't recognize that your difference alone has left you as a genius. June 23rd or so, during the lockdown, I said the lockdown was one of the best moments for me, because I was able to finish my online certification course on behavioral therapy. I was able to read more. I just took it as, oh, wow, this is a good time to look within. And it was in those times I started learning more about Isaac Newton and how it was during a lockdown in his time that he discovered all those law of gravity, all those other things that he discovered. And I said, okay, what can I discover in this time? And what hit me strongest in the middle of the lockdown was just stumbling on Albert Einstein's quote. It was about 1 something a.m. to 2 a.m. And as soon as I read the quote, I just shut down my laptop and I brooded. And the quote says, there's a genius in every human, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its rest of its life believing that it is stupid. And at that moment, I just asked myself, How is it that so many of us could be living stupid lives because we are judging our potential and judging our truth through someone else's lenses? How do we come to that point where we understand? Remember, we talked about identity being the center, and we understand the genius that we are within. And based on that, we're able to project to a world, whether they believe us or not, but we believe it strongly enough up until they begin to believe it. What happens sometimes is we'll wait for people to believe in us before we believe in ourselves. No, you need to believe in yourself first before even considering whether people are there. When you believe in yourself and you're showing up with that self and you're constantly refining, I call it a process of self re-engineering, where you're constantly discovering yourself, refining yourself, reviewing yourself, redefining yourself, re-engaging with what you have redefined. Review it, evaluate it, engage again. It's a constant process of re-engineering. And as you engage, when you develop, you engage. The more you do that, the more you build confidence, and with more confidence you get courage, and with more courage you are actually charting the path, and it's just a matter of time, and you would become you don't just believe yourself, but people would begin to believe you because you have intentionally carved a path for yourself by giving your genius in the best way that you can, and just engaging and engaging and engaging. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. That's pretty much what I would advise everybody to do. Believe in yourself, work on that self, improve on that self, engage that self relentlessly, and give it time. Yes, it's not the difference between who you are now, who you want to be, is not just time. No, the difference between who you are and who you want to be is the work that you put in, and then time. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stephredd. And it has been an awesome moment with you, a moment of change and transformation, and of course, a totally value of the mind. Thank you so much. Stephredd, even as we round up now, I don't know, is there anything you're working on that you want, of course, people to know about? And of course, and where can people reach you? And so that people can just, get in touch with you even after the section, and maybe they have one or two questions with you. Is there anything you're working on that you want people to, of course, to know about?
So absolutely, one of the things so it's being in phases, is on the 5th stage. I developed a tool called Spot Me. Spot Me is a self re-engineering tool that helps you to carry out your personal self-coaching on the go, and helps you to ask yourself those questions that typically you would want to run away from. It pretty much just takes you through the process of instruction, of thinking, of re-engaging, and pretty much setting a goal for yourself and committing yourself to the process. Comes in an audio format, comes in a memoir format, comes in a set of coaching cards for therapists and coaches, and is presently being developed as an app for easy access, not just for our local Nigeria, but globally. That is in phases. We're going to eventually launch, but it's presently available on my website, www.stephredd.com, in the shop, in the e-shop, and you have Spot Me there. It's an audio that I charge anyone that pretty much wants clarity of mental space about self to engage. It's a process that, when I talk about self re-engineering, it's a self re-engineering process, and I encourage everyone. I mean, even the reviews that are there about it, sometimes it's mind-blowing for me. I am humbled by the fact that I could have birthed such a thing, and I'm totally grateful for it. I don't take it for granted. It is a resource in itself that, when I have moments, because we all have moments, no matter what we have achieved, we have down moments. Sometimes when I have doubting moments, I go back to the tool, because I tell myself I do not know what mental space I was when I was doing this, but whatever mental space it was, thank you for that. But it is a powerful tool that would help anyone get Spot Me. And then there's a Stay Determined. I have a Stay Determined, to a collection of quotes, the quotes that kept me through a very low moment. So low moments do come. It is what we tell ourselves in those low moments that will help us come out of them. So one of the things I kept telling myself through the low moment, through the valley moments, I just see either I'm sitting and I'm wondering what next, and I catch my thoughts, the ability to catch your thoughts and change what it is saying and pretty much put it in the positive. I am not unaware of the fact that this could go left, but I am choosing to focus on the possibility of it going right. And because of oh wow, I have over 200 quotes put together and still counting, and just grateful for that. So I just put it all into a book that I called Stay Determined, because it's important that we are determined through life. We can be disciplined, but if we're not determined, if we do not have a resolve to achieve a goal, which is to be determined to achieve that goal, even if we're disciplined in the moment, it could fade away. Right? So how do you stay determined through life's phases so that you bounce back stronger and continually bounce back stronger through the valleys of life? Because life is not all about mountains. It's about mountains and valley moments, right? So what do you learn in the valley moments? How do you stay strong in the mountain moments? And when you find yourself in another valley moment, how well do you remember the mountain you're coming from? Make the best of the valley that you are and progress continuously to go up the next mountain. So yes, so I encourage everyone, stop by the e-shop. You can also click the link on my bio to direct you there to different places and check out Spot Me, check out Stay Determined, and so many other courses that I offer online. Hi Shindara, thank you so much. And other courses I take people on communication coaching, and it's been the most enlightening. So it's not just communication. When people are coming, I say, I'm not coming to teach you to speak funny. I don't know how to speak funny. They didn't born me in the America, right? But I am just blessed to have a thing for languages, but transcending beyond languages to dealing with the identity. I've had people attend my communication because I'm like, oh my word, I didn't know this was why I felt I was an introvert, or this is why I felt I was timid, or this is why this have been showing up in my place of work. Oh, no wonder this is why this happened, that, or just because they came to a realization that there was a hollow in the center of their identity, and they were communicating from that place. They were projecting from that place. So they were projecting the hollow. They were projecting the low self-esteem. They were projecting the self-doubt. They were projecting everything that had caused them to cave in, either by an experience or by a word a parent said, or by a word a teacher said when they were growing up, or by probably a molestation or something. And all of that has created an identity that they are not even aware of, and they are now projecting with. So yes, my communication courses are coming up. We just finished one, and we have another one coming up sometime in May or so, April, May. And hey, just follow up on my LinkedIn, my link tree on my bio, and all that is there. It's life transforming. I can say that myself, and then my students are going to say that as well.
Of course, we as well at TalkInfluencers, we can gladly and proudly say that as well. Thank you so much, Stephredd. It has been an awesome
Thank
moment with
you.
you. Now, this is going to be our last question. I'd like to ask you that what are the things that you do weekly, monthly, or what you do yearly for personal and self-development?
For people, to general public?
No, to you, what are the things that you do
For
daily?
myself,
Yes, what are the things that you do daily, weekly, or monthly for personal and self-development?
I read books that interest me. So I once said, somebody asked the question, what's that thing that I hate to do? I hate to read. Yes, I saw that look on your face. So like, right? So like, as I hate to read, right? My husband calls me an intellectual. So people that they think, oh, I'm intellect. I actually hate to read, but I challenge myself to read because I want to. I want to, right? But what I do, and I'll just be truthful with you, I I listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts, and I spend time focusing on things that I want to achieve. And not to sound spiritual or to sound spooky, But I believe that I'm graced with words, that I just sit down and I'm thinking through a thing and I begin to get a download. And as I'm getting a download, I'm writing, and then I open my dictionary, I go on Google, and I just find out what is this about. And I read more about it, and as I sit to start typing, I'm just getting more information. And that has actually made me choose very carefully those that I call, those that I look up to. I may be careful with saying mentors, but I have different people that I pretty much pick that look like where I want to go to. And what I do is I'm studying their lives, I'm studying their patterns. I'm like, okay, I'll pick this, I like this, I pick that, I pick this, okay, I drop that. And then I bring all of that together and I begin to study their track record and study their processes and ask myself, how can I create my own process? And in the middle of that, I am researching as well. So I do a lot of research. Google is like my best friend. I do a lot of research to read. I listen to a lot of podcasts that are in tune with where I see myself getting to. And another thing, I've learned to not just visualize, but to go to places that help me to recreate when the picture in my mind of what I want to achieve. I go to areas that help me to recreate it, that help me to give life to it in my mind, so that I'm able to say, if this can be done by someone else, this looks somewhat like what I'd like to do, then that means that it is possible. Okay, I will do mine a bit like this, I'll do this a bit like that. And then I'm just studying, I'm just looking at all of that, and I come back and I have a lot of jotters sometimes, and I just write a lot. That is pretty much self-development for me. It is self-development for me. I have not given myself, so beyond all my certifications, particularly after I was fired from a job, which was what led me to the self. I had gathered so many certifications: global HR professional, international this, all right, like coach, all of that. They now still sack me from work. I said, wait, it's not by certification. Wait a minute, let's know what's up, right? But so I'm quite intentional about how I engage knowledge, and I'm taking the knowledge that is suitable for where I want to get to. I pick on it, I zoom in on it, and I zoom out. Yeah. So that's what I do. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but it doesn't have to make sense. It makes sense to me.
It makes it very sensible to us too as well. So I really want to ask you one question, but we have to close. But I would like to ask you this, and
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So you were talking about certification and all. And the reason why I'm asking that is that you understand with me that you agree with me that even in the Nigerian context, especially a lot of young people have this issue of certification in getting their jobs or the dream jobs that they want and all. And that maybe they don't have the certification required and all. They are like down, they are like depressed, that kind of a thing like that. What advice are you going to give to someone like that that's going through a form of depression based on the certifications that they don't have, or they are not recognized based on the certification that they have? What recommendation or what advice are you going to give to that kind of person?
The first thing I would like to say is be sure that the certification you're going after is what you need. And I'm saying that because I'm only going to speak from my place of experience, and I'm just speaking from there. I remember when I worked in an insurance industry. That's why I worked the longest. My career was there for about 7 years, 3 months and 1 day. I know that specifically. And one of the things that when I first joined, so I was already an HR person. I joined as an HR generalist. But then there was the buzz at the time that if you want to rise through the ranks fast, you can only rise through the ranks when you have a CIIN, which is a Chartered Institute of Insurance of Nigeria. So the buzz to want to become chartered, so that, at the time, say you can even become the MD of the company. So for you to be the MD of the company, for you to rise through the ranks, you have to have a CIIN. And then I'd already gotten the form. I was like, do I need a CIIN or do I need a CIPM at the time? So I'm in human resources. What do I want to be? Do I want to be an MD of an insurance company? No. Do I want to do anything that has to do with insurance aside? Do I want to get into the technicalities of it? No. Do I want to market insurance? No. So being able to ask ourselves specific questions, because the desire to want to empty or want to rise through the ranks could make us unconsciously derail from focus. And the same thing as I know how when I speak to core members, a lot of times I tell them, when you get into an organization will shape you. That the organization has its goal. The question is, do you have your own career goal? Your career goal should guide you such that when you go for a job interview, you are able to say, this is not what I want, and not because of, so that's my value. I will not say, oh, I didn't want, this money is good, but I don't like the work, let me just take it. No, because when I give myself, I pour myself. So if I'm going to be pouring myself to a job, it's got to be something that I'm willing to do. So if I go for a job and I find out that, oh, this is not what is going to be, then I'm going to wait for that thing. I want to be in human resources. I'm not going to go to marketing because I'm trying to get money. And even if I need the money, I can say, okay, I need the money for this time at this moment. I'm going to do it for the next 1 year. It's about planning. I'm going to do it for the next 1 year, for the next 2 years. And in 2 years, I'm going to save this amount of money and leave. Right? And then while I do this, how much do I need? Based on where I'm going to, what qualification is required? What certification is required? Because we'll unconsciously find ourselves saying, anywhere but left is, let's just be going to when we get there. So how we have a job? Nigerians don't have job. Let's just get anything. It's tough, but if we don't start early from consciously charting our course, anything will draw us to any direction. And before we know it, we'll spread ourselves so thin, and one day we'll just snap. Because we weren't structured at the center before we started giving ourselves. So you want to ask, what certification, before you say what certification do I need, you ask, what do I want to be? Where do I want to go? Who do I want to become? You start from the end in mind. Based on that, what do I need to do now? You don't say, what do I do now to become that? You start from there and come here. Right? So based on that, I want to be, I need to do this, that, and take it one step at a time. These days you have Udemy. You can have short Udemy courses. As you gather money, or as you make money, as you begin to, money comes with value. As you begin to offer value and you get money, you save it, and then you can now go for those courses that will further reinforce that thing that you want to do. But you have to start with the end in mind, come to the present, and choose based on what you need to achieve the end in mind. That is the advice that I will give based on my personal level of awareness.
Thank you so much, Stephredd, for that explanation and call. Thank you so much, Stephredd. It has been a wonderful, wonderful moment with you, a moment of change and life transforming. It's life transforming. We are the TalkInfluencers. I want to say we love you. I want to say thank you so much for every word that you have said today with us today. We are so grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is the TalkInfluencers. Our guest today, of course, is Stephredd. You can also find our page that I am Stephredd on Instagram. She's also on LinkedIn as well. Please go follow our website, as she said. Of course, she just mentioned that www.stephredd.com for you to have all the packages that she have for you and her, of course, that is going to transform, change you, and make you to become the very best you can be. Thank you so much, everyone. This is the TalkInfluencers.
Thank you, Simon. I appreciate you.
All right, now thank you so much, Stephredd. So if you're just tuning in, this is the TalkInfluencers. This is where we explore the mindset of amazing achievers. We share their secret to success.
Well done.
Decisions they've made over the years are shaped to transform what they have today. I'm sure your life has been changed today by our words of Stephredd today. For us at TalkInfluencers, it has changed completely. It has moved and shifted our life, our mindset to become the very best you can be. Thank you so much, Stephredd. And until next time, everyone, this is the TalkInfluencers. Thank you so much, Stephredd.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Well done for all you do. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.